Thank you very much, Rajesh. As usual, he's been so kind in speaking and talking about each one of us. See, what I'll do is I can go on CSC because that's our bread and butter. So, but I can hours and hours talk about CSC, what is CSC and how it work. But since this platform is a little different, rather than talking about only CSC, let me talk about something on e-governance. There are some senior officers here, some colleagues from the service, and some industries who are trying and getting into government space and trying creating some models for them. See, one of the things which I like, Rajesh, is that he talks is disruptive. I always talk about destructive. See, the government needs destructive innovation, not disruptive innovations, and that is that's how the things will improve. Can we look at things differently from a citizen perspective? We normally look things from the government perspective. So far, your discussions across various speakers has been focusing on how do we improve the government performance within the government. But what does the citizen need? How does his life become simpler as compared to? I like Mr. Modi. In fact, we have been talking this for a long time. Mr. Modi's recent order in the central government saying there will be no attested copy. Otherwise, we used to call it attestation syndrome. Why do they want attested copies and then do want a class 1 officer to attest? Why not class 2, class 3? They're also government servants. Somebody built the social hierarchy into organizational hierarchy in government. Government officers, they're a class apart, they're very good, but the organizational structure is very defective. The structure, the hierarchical structure built in social hierarchy into organizational hierarchy is something has to be done to close this and forget about it. Otherwise, it will continue. And as he was saying that you will not like to go to second time to a government office. It's never a pleasant experience. First the PN, in fact I tell the PN is the guy first you meet, then you meet the PA, and then is hell. So even if an appointment of the guy is very difficult to really comfortably come back and saying that I had a great day today because I met this gentleman. The gentleman was good, but the process of meeting the gentleman is horrible. Reception in government. See, why do you need reception in government? In airport, you can get a ticket on your mobile, show your identity card and go to the airport. But you can't do the same thing in government. And I'm sure the security in the airport is more important or as equally important as that of a government office. Why can't we remove all the reception offices in government and create this? I can fix an appointment through an online, get a printout of the appointment slip, go along with either a mobile or an office copy, show my identity and just move into the guy. And remove the PN and the PA. I think they are the one who rules half of this. Bureaucracy is largely criticized because it's lower level, not because these guys are class apart, they're passionate, they want to do something, but the structure does not allow them to go and about. The other part of the story, I think somebody said many of the IAS officers has tried and done a lot of work. What they do is, in addition to the government office, they set up a computer office and saying this is the facilitation center. Does not solve the problem. Does not, even if it's run by a private operator, the private operator becomes a sarkari patwari. So the whole idea of innovation in government is not to make a private guy a sarkari patwari. In fact, that's what we face. Our common service centers, which we have 1,40,000, and out of the VLE, we always tell them, you are not going to be a private sector patwari because you're going to be worse than the sarkari patwari. So therefore, the idea is not to create systems and process where the private sector does all that. See, the way to do it and the way to look at it, which we have been talking, I spoke to something in Bihar at that time when one of the chief secretary and talked to him. If you really want to insulate people, then remove the front end and the back end completely, both physically as well as electronically. You can solve a large number of problems and really revolutionize in the sense that people, the citizen will get benefit significantly. For example, the front office can be in Connaught Place and the back office can be in Gurgaon or in Noida. It makes great sense. You will save on cost and the people who do back end should not even know who is the front end. And I'm not saying theoretically, it has been actually done in a bank. Axis Bank was started with the UTA Bank, and the first bank who did it. The guy who received your application for loan and the guy who sanctioned loan doesn't know each other at all. It's a process oriented, and government is process oriented. It can't be individuals. You can't decide your own individual angularities in trying to take a discussion. It's all process defined, and therefore has to be looked in that perspective. So I think segregation of front end and back end. If we can segregate DM's office physically, electronically, it make, or BDO's office physically, electronically, I think will revolutionize whole thing and make huge credibility for citizens to look into government offices. Of course, there are a lot to be done, but I think this simple part is possible. Bihar, at some point in time in the cabinet, decided to do this, but I think people who were involved, they got shifted, and again, it got into the square one stage. The other part is simplifying process. How do we simplify process? See, I give the examples of registration form. See, in a registration act, what is required? The details of the buyer, details of the seller, and details of the property. These three things. That means it should be 1 page. All registration deed in the country are 10 pages. Why? You ask those guys, but deed writer has to pay. Are we creating registration deed for deed writer, or are we creating registration deed for the purpose of the citizen? We are more bothered about deed writer because they are the intermediaries. I think government at some point in time get worried about deed writers and intermediaries they created through system and then try and have these problems. And there are innumerable examples. PAN card, you want a PAN card is hell today. I don't know, you can, in fact, you can use a UID and create a PAN card. What is so great about it? I can print a card anywhere and go. But today you apply, document, it'll take 2 months and it's hell out of it. PAN card is, even PAN card for the pension purpose, they're making such complex phenomena, but they create intermediaries. NSDL, UTI, TCL, these intermediaries are surviving largely because they're built in the network. You don't need these guys at all. You have to simplify life, that at least a PAN card in this country, I need an identification. And that's why he's saying UID is a game changer. It will make life so simple for each one of us. It is not being projected in that manner. Today, there are a lot of criticism for UID for people largely who are getting affected, these intermediary organizations. Maybe these large organizations who are getting affected, smart card lobbies will get affected because they're the one who want to sell the project. And the whole UID problem was created by these lobbyists. And there are lobbyists who work for this purpose. But UID going to be a great game changer because life simpler for me. And last thing which I want to put it across. As I said, disruptive, not become destructive in the sense that if we can in this country, which I am sure Mr. Modi, if somebody can give an idea, I don't give it to him, I'm sure he's intellectually bright, can also help us in doing that the onus of proof for every service should lie with the government. Where Rajesh has been talking about, if the data is with the government, why should I prove? If my birth certificate is with you, you prove it, why should I prove? If my caste certificate with you, you prove yourself, why should I prove? If the onus of proof shift from a citizen to the user, 90% of the problem will get resolved in this country. But somebody has to start doing this. I think we need to think differently, we need to start working differently, and we need to innovate in a manner which make life simpler for me. And of course, the last thing, we should also not repeat things which have happened, like the examples of Madhya Pradesh creating a database of its own. I'm not, why should they want to create a database when UID already exists? See, unique ID number is already existing. Our enthusiasm in our service to create something related to me and create a unique has to go. I think we belong to a service where a lot of people have this initiative saying, I have to do this, I did this. I know about some people got an award, Prime Minister's award for something which similar to CSC has been set up. Exactly same. Common service centers were set up in Gwalior. The DM of the Gwalior got an award from the Prime Minister for the same work. So you don't have to do all that work which is already being done. Look at the best practices and look at what has already been done and what likely to be done. This too much of me and too much of I and too much of egos and too much of name. In fact, I have been also very critical the IAS officers should not be given any award. Why should they get an award? They joined the service to do a service. We are not a police officer where I have to put labels on my label and go around. We have joined this service largely because we want to serve the country. And that is the and serve without name and without face. That is the first lesson which was taught to us. But today a lot of people, Prime Minister award, see, we should forget about the award. And I know about companies, say I keep on giving an example, I know about a company which got an award. In 2 years, the company disappeared completely. And award from an international organization. So this award business is also very dicey. It doesn't excite people to do good jobs. I think we should sustain ourselves. We should do something concrete, meaningful, simplifying life for people. And that's what to me is e-governance. Rajesh is one example who thinks differently and who also acts differently in his own quiet way and trying and making a difference. I hope there are many people like him, faceless, but giving service to the nation and making life simpler for citizens. Thank you very much.